Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Empowerment with Elizabeth. Today I am here with my sweet new friend Lauryl, and she is going to talk to us about being a state title holder and her prep for Miss Volunteer America. So, Lauryl, tell us a little bit about you.
So I'm Laurel, and I was just crowned Miss Mississippi Volunteer like 2 days of a week ago. It really still has not sunk in. I am over the moon, so excited. And I really just didn't believe that this would become my reality so soon. But I am so ecstatic, and we've already hit the ground running. Like we've been waiting our turn, and we're ready. We are going into it, diving in. I am from Meridian, Mississippi, and I actually attend college at the University of Southern Mississippi in Hattiesburg. So I travel up and down the state a good bit. um, my platform, my personal serve initiative is the Girl Collective, which is a confidence mentorship program, just instilling confidence outside of the validation of others and really pouring in this self-worth while building community at the same time. But as Miss Mississippi volunteer, I'll really work with the Mississippi Highway Patrol to promote our serve initiative, the DRIVE campaign, which stands for Driving Requires Initiative, Values, and Education. So that's something that I'm so excited to kick off. And last night we actually had a meeting with the board, and just even scratching the surface of all that we'll get to do at that platform is so exciting. And I just can't believe this is my reality. I can you tell I'm excited? Like I've said it 10 million times.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So before we get into, this year for you, take us back to whenever you started doing pageants. When did you start? How did you get into them? And how did it get you to where you are now?
I did not start doing pageants until I was probably 16, maybe 15. So, and I'm only 19 now. So, I really don't have that much of a pageant background, honestly. A lot of experience packed in the last 3 years, but before that, no, I didn't. I grew up a competitive dancer. And so being on the stage, being all glammed was nothing ever foreign to me. I was always familiar with that. And it just kind of shifted forms as I got older. I had several friends, and seeing the big girls that competed in pageants, I always wanted to be a part of that because I was already doing half of the hard work that went into it. And so I dove into that with the Miss Mississippi High School Miracle organization, and I actually won my first pageant. Who knows how I did that? Such a God thing, I guess. That was a year of lots of learning and growth. And then for the past 2 years, I've competed for Miss Mississippi Teen USA, where I placed third runner up and second runner up. And then most recently, I won Miss Mississippi Volunteer in my first pageant as a Miss, which was super exciting. And I have just thoroughly enjoyed this journey. And I always say that, pageantry is one of those things that you have to experience for yourself to really understand all that it can do for you. Because I was the girl that would not speak in a public setting. I would hardly speak to adults. Like, terribly shy, and just to see that barely scratches the surface of how far that they've brought me. And it's something that I hope that I can share and reflect to girls everywhere.
I love that. I love that. And you already mentioned, that you're a dancer and you've been dancing your whole life. So talk to us about your talent. How do you go about selecting a piece for states for Miss Mississippi Volunteer? And then how do you plan about selecting a piece for nationals as well?
Right. So I did grow up a competitive dancer, but at the beginning of my junior year, I stopped in high school because I started playing volleyball, and I thought that I would be playing in college. And so I was taking that extremely seriously. And if you know anything about dance or attempting to play us, or I was going to play college at the next level, those are like full-time jobs, especially being a high school student. And so doing that and pageants, I had to choose. And so I have not danced in 3 years. So when the volunteer organization reached out, and I was kind of, discovering all that embodied and took, I saw talent, and I was like, okay, this is something that I can do, but it's not going to be easy because, it's like riding a bike. You don't ever forget, but my skills were definitely rusty. And so that was a little bit nerve wracking just because I wasn't how confident I would be in it. But I dove in and I got to work, and I guess that work paid off. That was really exciting. I danced to I've Got the Music in Me, which was actually one of my first songs that I danced to at a competitive competition. And so that was cool to see the full circle moment of not just how far I've come in my dance journey, but just my journey in general. That was super exciting. And for nationals, we have not finalized any of that, having me just one a week ago, but that's something that I'm super excited to kickstart. The Mississippi Volunteer Organization has the best board members, and they really take care of us, not only as title holders, but as Lauryl. And so I have no doubt that they have the utmost best prepared for me, and I'm excited for us to begin working on that.
I love it. I love it. So we talked about talent, but I want to know specifically what your favorite phase of competition is, and then talk to us a little bit about why that phase is your favorite.
So I competed in swimsuit for the first time at this competition, which was really honestly rewarding because you prepare for interviews, which rolls over into all aspects of life because you'll interview for the rest of your life and know how to carry yourself and talk to people. And I didn't realize that swimsuit would also play that role because having health and working out, being in your fitness grind, that's something that not only just plays a role while you're on stage, but it rolls over into all aspects of your life. And having been a competitive dancer and also playing volleyball, I already knew what that looked like. It just took a different shape for this. And so that was really cool. And then I'm also just very familiar with evening gowns. So I feel very confident in that. And I would never believe myself to say this, but I think interview has to take top as my favorite competition. Even a year ago, Laurel would not have said that, but I think that maybe it comes with a maturity, experience, age, but I just have learned that I'm not performing for judges. I'm just showing Lauryl, just an extension of my heart. And I remember sharing with the board after the competition that when I walked in interview, I was reading, or beforehand, I had read my Bible and it just said, God is for you. And so right before I walked in the interview room, I was last competitor. So I knew the judges had had a long day. They were probably at their ends meet. And I was just beginning my day, but I said, just God is for you. And that's what I walked in and I let lead me. And it's just felt like a conversation, of course, but it felt like I was making 5 new friends. It wasn't like I was standing up there to be judged for them to say, oh, well, she could have worded this better. Oh, well, I don't know about her opinion on that. It just felt like I was making friends. And I owe a lot of that to the personality and the character of those judges. They were incredible. Getting to meet them afterwards, I adored. But I think that also has to do a lot with the growth that I've done, not only in perfecting my answers or the content that I have prepared, but just myself as well-rounded. And so being able to say that interview is my favorite form of competition is an accomplishment in itself because, like I said, I was painfully shy. And so that is so rewarding.
I love that. I love that. And a big part of the interview too is, having your serve initiative and your platform. So talk to us about what yours is. And then I know also with Mississippi, y'all do, the Drive program. So talk about yours, your personal serve initiative, and then also Drive as well.
I've been working with my serve initiative for probably almost 2 years now. It's called the Girl Collective, and I touched on it earlier, but it's just that confidence mentorship program and really making sure that girls are finding that within themselves and with the foundation of who they are and not receiving it from the validation or words of affirmation from others. For me, this is very personal because I don't think that confidence is something one person deals with, or needing community is only one outlet. This is something that women and men of all ages, all backgrounds, all demographics experience and need to be poured into. And that just comes in different forms. And so I saw a need for that in my life. And I couldn't imagine that if this was something I was walking through, just how many people were also walking through mirrored experiences. High school was incredible for me, but my senior year looked a lot different. I was always the girl who had plenty of friends and an abundance of plans. I never sat still. I was go, 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 go. And my senior year just didn't look like that. And that was really hard because I had it built up for this expectation of, all the memories, all the things that you'll do with your friends. And it just did not look like that. I remember I was crowned homecoming queen at my school, and people that I thought were my friends, because I went to a relatively small school, so you're friends with everybody. And they actually videoed and posted their negative reactions to me winning all across social media. And that was hard because that's something that you build up in your head. It should be a cloud 9 moment, but it really felt like I'd hit rock bottom because these were people that I valued so much that made me feel like I had no value. And I knew that at that point I had to do something because I wasn't the only girl walking through that. And that there were many instances that stand out in my mind, but that just really takes clear role because the stories that I've heard from simply just being vulnerable and sharing those are remarkable. and not in a great way. And these are defining moments that can define girls, but just showing girls that their circumstances don't define their success. And maybe that's through a girl collective presentation, but sometimes that just looks like being a shoulder to cry on. And so I've implemented this into Clarkdale High School, where I graduated from, where we met with middle school girls on a weekly basis. And I've also been able to translate that as I've gone into college with the Girl Scouts of Mississippi, meeting with them, whether it's a tea party or spa night, just building that common ground and that sense of relationship with them so that they can be themselves and know that that is exactly what the world needs from them. So that's the heart behind my message. And I'm also excited that as Miss Mississippi Volunteer, we have a partnership with the Mississippi Highway Patrol, where we're sharing the message of driving requires initiative, values, and education, which is also very personal to me. And I didn't realize how true that was until my involvement with this organization. Actually, just this past year, 9 months ago, I want to say, I lost a friend to a fatal car accident. Someone that I walked the schools of hallways with, or hallways at school with, someone that I spent my weekends with, all because there was a lack of safe driving. And I knew that at that point, there was no choice whether or not I would be competing, because this was a message that I needed to share for his sake and my own. They say that it takes 21 days to break a bad habit. And I can't imagine how many bad driving habits can be broken in a year of service. And so that's something that I'm excited and eager to begin working with, because Mississippi ranks as top 5 driving fatalities in teenagers. And that's something that's hard pill to swallow. No one wants to hear that. And I'm looking forward to being a part of that change.
Love that. I love that. Okay, so switching back to your personal pageant journey, I want to know why this year for you. So why do you think the judges selected you to represent the state this year, as opposed to, at Miss Mississippi Teen USA, or, whatever other pageant?
Of course, every girl that competes thinks that they are fit for that title for that year, because you pour so much into it, whether it be your time, your money, your energy. It's mental, it's physical. There's so much that you're exerting and pouring into that. And that's why I owe so much to pageantry, and because I see myself, I'll be a different, totally different experience. And I'm like, there's people that are like, oh my goodness, this is so hard, this and that. And I'm like, whoa, you've never competed in a pageant. Like, there's so much that goes into it. This is a breeze. And I remember competing at those pageants, and of course I had a sense of confidence, but this time competing wasn't just a confidence in myself or my capabilities, but it was a confidence in God that whatever he had designed for me would come to fruition. And I think that it was that moment that I was confident that whether or not I took the crown home, I was winning, because I was in God's will. And deciding to compete, I was kind of on the line, because I'm only 19. And so this was my first Miss competition. And I knew that I needed the experience at some point, but I just wasn't sure, what that looked like for me this year. So I really wanted to walk in obedience to what God had for me. And I remember praying, okay, God, there's not a reason for me to not compete, but I need something that pushes me over the edge. I need a sign. And I usually don't pray that. I usually do not test him like that. But I was just like, I want to be super intentional. I really want to know my heart behind this decision. And later that day, actually, I got a call from a board member, and they just kind of shared their heart with me, and their heart behind the organization is super genuine, authentic conversation. And I didn't feel like I was talking to someone that was super involved in this organization, that I probably should be intimidated of. It felt like I was talking to a friend. And so I was like, okay, God, you got it. The day I pray, the day you answer. Okay, that's my sign. And so probably 2 weeks went by, and I still had not signed up to compete. I was in the middle of college, kind of running around and probably looking for any little thing to hold back just a little bit. And I was like, okay, God, this is the day. Like, I just need one more sign. And I want it to be so clear. And another board member had texted me that day, Lauryl, have you signed up? And I was like, okay, there's no question, because this is so evident. And just throughout the whole time preparing, God's presence was so prevalent and just so real. And I shared an interview that I didn't believe that this was just a mere opportunity, that it was a God ordained purpose for my life. And so just having confidence in that, I was able to be a true, authentic version of Lauryl. I didn't try to show the perfect version of who I thought I could be, or what they they might want. I was just myself. And I think that they saw through that. I think that I was someone that they could see themselves within in whatever shape or form that took. And that's something that I hope to do throughout my whole year, and just making sure that everybody I meet feels like a somebody, because there are girls, there are women and men that have done that for me. And it totally changed the trajectory of where I'm at. And I don't know that I'd even be here had they not parted those waters for me. So that's one of my huge goals and ambitions, just to keep at the forefront of my mind and make the intention of my year.
I love it. I love it. And looking kind of towards next year almost, up next for you as far as pageants go is Miss Volunteer America, which is so exciting. So
Yes.
talk to us about your prep. If you started yet, talk to us about what you've been doing. And if not, talk to us about what you want to focus on in the future.
Mississippi is the first state pageant for the volunteer organization. So they have a quick turnaround from nationals. They get those girls prepared, and they produce phenomenal women on that stage, and that shows in their accomplishments, in their placements. Mississippi's been in the top 5 every year of Volunteer America. So I have quite the shoes to fill, but I couldn't be more eager to begin that journey. So I have a full year of preparation. So this next couple months will just be building blocks, really working on sharing my serve initiative and reaching as many Mississippians as I can, even outside of our state, because the work is never finished. And so I'm excited for that. And I'll probably begin getting choreography, picking out songs, designing dresses, begin interviewing, personal development, all of the whole 9 yards. In just a couple of months, Mississippi has some of the best sponsors. They're so generous, so kind with their time, and really pour into the development of their girls. And I have no doubt that they'll have us prepared. So I have my full faith in them, and I'm excited to get to work on that. But that will really kickstart probably within 2025. And my teen, Izzy Carnes, actually competes in March. So I'll be cheering her on for a little bit, and then dive full force into preparation. But I could not be more ready. I feel like I could start interview prep right now. I'm just ready to jump on it.
I love it. I love it. And our final question, if you could give one piece of advice to one of the girls that is competing at Miss Mississippi Volunteer next year, what would it be?
I shared this earlier, kind of touched on it, but it's that your circumstances don't define your success. When I was going through that experience with friendships and just kind of feeling completely alone and isolated from the world around me, I could have sat there and let that define who I was. I could have never put myself out there. I could have let that be the end for me. I could have gone through the motions of what life looked like right in that moment, but I didn't let that stop me. I knew that if this was something I was walking through, other girls needed to hear about it. They needed to hear my story and how I got to the other side of it. And so that's what I started doing. So it's way more about how I'm making people feel, not about what I'm doing, not about being Miss Mississippi Volunteer, but about how I'm making people feel through those interactions, through the appearances, through the relationships I'm building. And so being intentional in that, and making sure that other people are not defining how far you can go, that you really can do anything. Don't take no for an answer. Shoot your shot. Do the thing you're most scared of, because you will win regardless when you're walking in God's will.
I love that. Well, thank you so much, Lauryl, for coming on and chatting with us about you and, your title and what you'll be working on this year. And just know that we'll be rooting you on.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You're awesome.
Of course. And I will see the rest of y'all on our next episode. Bye, y'all.
Awesome. Bye, guys.